How is it going, PPL fans? And welcome to your PPL Division 2 recaps. I am here with...
Slyroh.
Nice. And basically we're going to be going through each of the matches in Week 1 of the Pokemon Premier League Division 2. So, yeah, if you want to get us started off, Sly?
Absolutely. The first match that we're going to go over here is going to be LacenMC and the Philadelphia Flygons against Jordinez and the Southampton Sneasels. This was a really good match that really came down to it. Jordinez comes away with the 2-0 victory. He was able to put a lot of pressure on Lacen with his Weavile, and even Floatzel was able to clean up at the end. Miltank was really good at taking a lot of hits, and Lacen just didn't have quite the team to stop Jordinez. Also, quick note that Lacen probably should avoid putting Mega Stones on his not Mega Pokemon. For anyone who doesn't know, Lacen actually put an Audinite on his Arcanine to be able to take a knockoff from Weavile because he didn't think Mega Stones could be knocked off. But, surprise, surprise, they actually can be knocked off if it's not used on its own Mega. So, probably something to keep in mind for future weeks.
Absolutely. I mean, I had no idea that was a thing. I assumed that Mega Stones simply couldn't be knocked off regardless of what Pokemon they were on, but that's news to me, so...
Yeah, same, absolutely. And then, just at the end, Floatzel actually got 2 kills. Floatzel of all Pokemon cleaned up at the end, which was really nice to see. I like seeing lower-tier Pokemon put in work, especially offensively. I think it's
absolutely,
really cool.
Absolutely. Floatzel's a fantastic Pokemon, especially in draft formats. It's not as expensive as a lot of other Pokemon, so you can have something like a Floatzel, which is relatively decent at sweeping up anyway, but it won't completely break the bank to go and get it. If you get what I mean.
Absolutely. All right, well, that's about all I have to say about that match.
So, next match here we have. Hang on, let me just have a look. We have Troy versus Travistey, which is oh my god, Wicombe Wanderers versus
North Melbourne.
North Melbourne Kangaskhan. Sorry about this. We have Wicombe Wanderers versus North Melbourne Kangaskhan, and basically it seems like in this match Troy made a lot of risky plays early on, such as switching a Gliscor in on Lantern, which basically meant that he took a lot of risks early on in order to try and get a lot of momentum, and they actually worked out because that Gliscor was an absolute monster. Sword Stance on that Gliscor pretty much was just his win condition because it pretty much broke everything that wanted to come in on it. But, however, having said that, the Gliscor may have put in a massive amount of work, but the final turn in this match was very, very, very important because the final turn was Gliscor was in against a +2 Togekiss, and the Togekiss was going for Air Slash, and Gliscor had gone for a Stone Edge. Unfortunately, the Stone Edge was not able to kill the Gliscor, and Togekiss was about to use Air Slash, but it missed, which was unfortunate because the match could have gone completely the other way, and North Melbourne Kangaskhan should have won the match if it hadn't been for hacks. So it's really unfortunate, but that's just the sort of luck that you get. I mean,
yeah.
It's really unfortunate.
That's basically how Pokemon can be sometimes, and that's what makes league matches like this unpredictable. Despite both people, I think, doing really well. At the end of the day, it came down to that last turn, and could have went either way. Both Air Slash and Stone Edge, neither are guaranteed to hit, so really left it up to the chance there.
I do like to see that it does remind me of last season where Fred played. Fred Foot actually won the league, where Brusha Doublade won the league on a freeze hacks, which that's just the way it can be. I mean, if you don't win the league on one decision, you win the league because you've played the best over all the games, but it's still unfortunate to see something like that. But hey ho, I'm pretty sure that Travistey will have a lot of luck in his favour as well as the season goes on. So yeah.
All right. Well, so just to move on to the next match, then the next match here is Under the Radar, Kelly versus Carter. That is the Maryland. Wow, what is this? The Maryland Torterrapins versus the Chicago Cubchoos. So Kelly is the coach of the Maryland Torterrapins. Carter is the coach of the Chicago Cubchoos.
I mean, I'm English. I have no idea about what these team names are based on. You have no excuse.
That's true. That's true. That's very true. But this was an interesting, kind of hard to watch match for me because everybody knows that Kelly just has so much bulk on his team, with the mixture of, you know, Clefable and Milotic and Mew and Jirachi. Just, you know, even his offensive stuff just has so much bulk. Like, and Carter just wasn't able to really break through that bulk. Kelly started off really nicely, getting a toxic, basically getting a toxic off on Carter's like Garchomp lead, as well as getting Stealth Rocks being done in one turn, and then he was able to just put enough pressure on the rest of the match, as well as Carter just couldn't take down the bulk. There was multiple times that Kelly was trying to sack off his Pokemon, and Carter couldn't take him out because Kelly's team was just that fat. So that just tells you something. He was trying to sack off his Pokemon, and they still weren't dying. So
that's just what happens when you have a lot of bulk, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that this match could have easily been a 5-0, but Kelly does get the 3-0 victory. And yeah, there's really not much more to be said. It was just a lot of bulk, a little bit of unnecessary stall, but it wasn't really on purpose, so it just kind of happened.
I mean, both teams were ridiculously fat, so it's like it was kind of just a battle stall with a couple of offensive mons thrown in the mix, but at the end of the day, it can't really be avoided.
Yeah, it happens.
It does indeed happen.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So the next match we had was Monotooi and the Tampa Bay Luxrays versus Juancito Marvel. I've always wanted to say his name. I'm not going to lie. Juancito Marvel and the Amityville Haunters. Now, let me just grab up my notes on this one. Yeah. Okay. There was one point in the match where Monotooi was going for close combat on the Gastrodon, not allowing it to really... It was going for recover constantly, and basically just kept going for close combat with the Hariyama, which meant that the Gastrodon was not allowed any chance to really get itself up to a decent amount of health, which put a lot of pressure on. But eventually did switch out, but basically it seemed like Monotooi always seemed to be ahead of the game on this one. He seemed to always be switching out and predicting Juan completely perfectly every time. It genuinely didn't seem like... It seemed like Juan was making a lot of the obvious plays, but Monotooi just seemed to be always one step ahead. He always seemed to be using U-turn and predicting Juan's switches and just basically getting himself in a better position for the next move, and he always seemed to be one step ahead. And the game honestly looked a bit one-sided, but it was still a fantastic game to watch because I understand that Juan is more of a VGC player, whereas Mono is obviously... I think he won one of the MPT tournaments, did he?
Yes, he was the winner of the most recent one, I believe. So,
I mean, that shows the quality of people in this league. He knows what he's doing, like you said. But basically, like you guys said, Mono just seemed to be ahead of the game, and that basically led to a 5-0 win, which is a very, very massive margin, and it shows the domination on one side. So Tampa Bay Luxrays win this game 5-0.
Yep, absolutely. And I don't really have much to add on to that. Basically, everything that he said is spot on. So I'm just gonna move on to the next match here, which was a match that I was actually really excited to see. And that was RubyMarrow and the Glass City Gliscor against Amazing Chi and the New Crustle United.
I was very looking forward to this one myself as well. I've been watching Ruby for a while, and I think that he seems like a really cool battler, so I was looking forward to this one.
Yeah, the thing I was most looking forward to is that there was a lot of doubts about Ruby's team, but he actually came away with the 2-0 victory. Now, that was helped a little bit by hacks. She did not get the hacks that he needed. He missed like 2 Zen headbutts. There was some paralyzed hacks, thrown in there as well. But Ruby played well around that to help ensure the victory. His Granbull just consistently stopped Haxorus. He kept his Granbull around like really, really well. And I don't know, I just think Ruby played really well. Amazing Chi got off to a pretty good start, getting immediate KO on Sharpedo turn 1. But after that, Ruby just did enough to win. He had a good amount of offensive pressure with things like Talonflame, Jolteon, things like that, and just kept what he needed to keep alive. And at the end of the day, Ruby came away with the victory. Very surprising win, I think, to a lot of people. But that's just, the unpredictability of draft leagues like this, and I love it. Absolutely.
I completely agree. I mean, a lot of people have been doubting Ruby since he didn't have a YouTube channel before starting like joining the PPL, but that was just the quality of his audition. He put a lot of effort into it, and it showed us what he was going to bring to the league, so we all kind of just went for it, and he's kind of proved himself to be a very good battler in this game. I mean, Chi himself is no slouch, so to actually beat someone who's kind of established like that when you have no background yourself, it's very, very important. So Ruby showed that he's not going to just be here to make up the numbers or anything like that. And to be honest, it did seem like Chi was a little bit nervous. From what I've seen, he seemed like he was a little bit nervous, and he was kind of afraid to make the plays, because having watched his battle, this was one of the ones I actually did watch, having watched his battle, it seemed like he was very nervous, because he was always speaking about the plays he was going to make. He always spoke about what plays could be possible, but he always seemed to just not want to take them. He just didn't want to make them because he was afraid that, like, he always seemed to be making the wrong decisions at the wrong time, and that's probably nerves, because this is his first draft-based format, but that'll probably go with time, because you start to prepare better, and you start to feel more confident. Maybe he just wasn't confident in the team, but that'll go. But it's still a fantastic victory for Ruby, and I'm very looking forward to seeing how that Regigigas does later on in the season. I honestly am.
Yeah, absolutely. But alright, go ahead and take us to our last match.
Okay, and our last match this week was Electricstorm 252 and Melbourne Victory Star versus Chaos in the Sky and Boston Braylooms. Now, if I just get up my notes for this one, because I've made a lot of notes on these, and I just want to make sure that I'm completely sorted. Hang on, which one is this? Yeah, of course, okay, gotcha. Basically, turn 1, there was a Fire Blast miss from a Salamence on a Mega Aggron, which was very unfortunate, because it did mean that the Mega Aggron wasn't, it would have died a lot earlier, because later on in the match there were a lot of switches in this one, and there was a lot of simple chip damage. It seemed like both sides were simply trying to wear each other down, and it was basically who could wear the other one down quick enough for the sweeper, like the sweepers come in clean up. For example, you have the Tauros on one side, and you have the Victini, and you have the Rotom and all that on the other side, so it seemed like they were simply just trying to get rocks and spikes and just get a load of chip damage and toxic off and Scold Burn, simply trying to get the other one to a point where they could just clean up. Very similar to my game in D1 this week, in week 1, where it was like we just made sure, because they knew what their win conditions were, they knew how to win, and it was simply who could get themselves to that position as quick as possible. It was more like a game of chess, to be honest, this one.
Yes, there was a lot of switch initiative on both sides. I think more from Chaos' side. A lot of U-turns, a lot of volt switches, and it took a lot to wear each other down. But I am very happy that that Tauros got like the mini sweep at the end there.
Absolutely. That Tauros was beautiful.
Yes, Tauros is so good. Also, another fun fact that Victini did not get a single kill. So Victini, widely regarded in the PPL as the best mod in draft format, and
I mean, I personally don't agree with that, but we'll leave that for another time.
Another discussion for another day.
Exactly. But this match, I believe, finished 2-0 or 2-0 to the. Yeah. Oh my god, I cannot speak to that. Was it Maryland or Terra? No, it wasn't. Was it? Oh,
nope, it was the Melbourne Victory Star.
Yeah, Melbourne Victory Star. Oh my god, sorry guys. It finished 2-0 to 2-0 to the Melbourne Victory Star, and basically, that's a thing.
Yep. All right, so that's the matches. So now we're going to move into the MVP race after week 1. And just going from bottom to top, in 5th place in the MVP race is actually Clefable, which got 2 kills and 0 deaths. Clefable is a really hard mon to take down, and it got some nice kills for Kelly. There are some other mons that have 2 kills and 0 deaths, such as Gramble off the top of my head, but I don't have the full list in front of me, and Clefable is first alphabetically, so congratulations, Clefable, you get 5th place.
Way. I mean, it is very good, because Clefable, I'm going to assume that Clefable's not going to stay there for the rest of the season, but it is still very good to see it getting the kills early on and putting in the performances that it deserves, so I'm going to give a little bit of a shout out there. Absolutely. But in 4th place, we have a mon that's more suited to be in the top of the MVP race, if you understand, a more conventional mon that would usually be seen there. We have Weavile, which has 3 kills and 0 deaths, which is absolutely fantastic, because that basically means that it's killed 3 things, and not died itself. It put in a lot of work this week, and yeah, I'm expecting to see Weavile climbing up a little bit more, because it's a fantastic mon and it just hits very hard. So yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. And Jordinez seemed to use it really well in week 1. So if he continues to use it that well, I don't expect it to die very often.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that.
But yeah, then in 3rd place, which is, I guess, technically tied with Weavile, also has 3 kills and 0 deaths, and that's Tauros. So happy that Tauros is 3rd in the MVP race. It's so great.
You are not the only one. I'm very happy to see Tauros up there as well.
I love it. Love it so much.
It's mainly because it's like such it's such a mon that you don't really expect to see.
Yeah.
And it did really well first game, absolutely fantastically, and it showed why Tauros is known as like one of the best wall breakers in a draft-based format, simply because it doesn't cost as much as you'd think at all, and you still can't really prepare for it properly.
Yeah, it hits like a truck. Like,
exactly.
Oh my goodness.
And in 2nd place, but also technically tied with Tauros and Weavile on kills and deaths, we have Monotooi for Chaos in the Sky.
Nope, that's for
no, it's not
Monotooi.
Monotooi? Oh my god, I got that completely
I don't know
wrong.
if you heard, but he has Monotooi, and he is not shied away from saying so at every opportunity possible.
It has it here in as Bad Alex, so I'm like, oh my god. Well, okay, okay, let's just say it's fun. Ignore me. But basically, like I said, it has 3 kills and 0 deaths, and I did watch this match, so I should have known that. But it just seemed to be, it just cleaned up at the end, and it did what Monotooi does, which is basically just a clean up, to be honest. It just hits really hard. It didn't need a tail glow, and he used it very well. He used it very effectively. He didn't really need to put too much pressure on with it, because simply having the Monotooi there was enough pressure on its own, and he just switched in at the end, and it was like just fast enough to take and strong enough to take out what was left of the team. So Monotooi, I highly expect to see it fighting for the top spot in the MVP race this season. Yeah,
absolutely. And we've already discussed how Monotooi is a good battler, so I'm sure Monotooi he's going to use it well.
He's going to enjoy using it as well, because he enjoys having it. God damn it.
Absolutely. And then very first in the MVP race, I'm really excited to actually be saying this. Gliscor is, of all Pokemon, first in the MVP race with 4 kills and 0 death. I am a huge fan of Gliscor. It was actually on my team last season. And I loved using it, and I really like how Troy's using it. Week 1 bringing a Sword Stance offensive Gliscor really makes me excited to see how else he plans to use it, and if Gliscor can actually stay up towards the top, that would be really nice to see if how long Gliscor can stay, because it's not usually looked at as a very offensive mon. So
exactly, it's exactly the same as Clefable, because that basically it's not exactly a mon that's seen as offensive, but Troy really pulled out like a really trump card there, because if you looked at the rest of the team that he brought that week, it didn't really match up very well, but that Sword Stance Gliscor was an absolute threat, and it really did a great job for him. So kudos to him, and it deserves to be at the top at the moment, it has to be said.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to move on to the league table now, and so we're just going to go from 12th to 1st. So in 12th, in last place, we do have the Amityville Haunters 0-1 record with a -5 differential. In 11th, we have Carter and the Chicago Cub Chews 0-1 with a -3 differential. They have a lot of the same records because, it's only been 1 week. In 10th, we have the Philadelphia Flygons. They're 0-1 with a -2 differential. Also at 0-1 with a -2 differential is the New Crustle United and the Boston Breloons. And then in 7th place, we have the North Melbourne Kangaskhan's 0-1 with a -1 differential. So that's the bottom half of the league table. So go ahead and talk about the top half of the league table.
And in 6th place, we have the Wycombe Wanderers and Troy with 3 points, a +1 kill loss differential, and having played 1 game. So he got 6 kills and 5 deaths. So that puts him in. Technically, everyone from this point up is joint first, but they are not joint first because of differential. They're all on the same
the differential
amount of
breaks it.
But that's exactly how it's meant to be on the first week, because you're going to have 6 wins and 6 losses. But in 5th place with 3 points and a +2 kill differential, we have the Southampton Sneasels. In fourth place, we have the Melbourne Victory Star with 3 points and, once again, a +2 kill differential. And above them, in third place, and at the moment, in the playoff place, which I would honestly be quite happy to see at the end of the season, having given his underdog status, we have the Glass City Gliscors with 3 points and a +2 kill differential. So at the moment, if this table stays the same, Ruby would be in the playoff position.
Yeah.
And our top two at the moment, and automatic promotion place holders at the moment, we have in second place the Maryland Terrapins with 3 points and a +3 differential, so outright second instead of being joint with a +2. We have the Maryland Terrapins, and in first place, current leaders and setting the pace for the rest of the season, we have the Tampa Bay Luxrays with 3 points and a +5 differential after beating the Amityville Haunters 5-0. So they are the team to beat at the moment, and it's up to everyone else to show how they respond. So the race is hotting up here.
Yep, absolutely. And just really quick, just for anybody that's unaware, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that for Division 2, the people that finish in first and second automatically get promoted to Division 1, and the person in third place gets to play the person that comes in 10th place for Division 1 for a chance to be also go to Division 1. So just in case anybody didn't know that, that's what we're talking about when we say about promotions and things like that. But
absolutely. It's going to be a very tense match. That would be the playoff match, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that match. Hopefully I'm not involved in it myself.
I'll say hopefully not being in it. That'd be way too intense.
Now we're just going to move on to a little bit of a preview for what we have next week. So next week in the PPL Division 2, we actually have ourselves a nice little promotion battle, because we have the Maryland Terrapins versus the Glass City Gliscors. Now, the Maryland Terrapins... where am I looking? Yeah, the Maryland Terrapins are in second place, and the Glass City Gliscor are in third place. So, whoever wins that is possibly... if Ruby wins it, he overtakes the Maryland Terrapins if Glass City win it. And if the Maryland Terrapins win it, then they have a chance to go top, which is absolutely fantastic. We know that at the end of this, one of those teams is going to be on 6 points, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's always a good place to start. That's always a good place to be. I'm actually really excited to see this battle. I think it's going to be a good battle. It'll be interesting to see because everybody's already doubted Ruby once, and everybody knows about how fat Kelly's team is. So just seeing a really kind of frail offensive team going up against a really fat defensive team is going to be very, very interesting to see.
Very interesting, especially because now that Ruby's shown everyone what he can actually do, people are kind of going to be expecting him to play really well, so the pressure's on at the moment.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. All right, and then the next match that we have for you for week 2 is going to be Jordinez and the Southampton Sneasels against Amazing Chi and the New Crustle United. So that's definitely going to be a very interesting match. I was really, really impressed with how Jordinez played week 1. And Amazing Chi, I think, definitely has some things to prove, after being very nervous and, doubting himself, second-guessing himself. It's going to be really interesting to see how he approaches this week and how he tries to bring it back to avoid getting off to an 0-2 start.
Exactly.
So,
nobody wants to be getting off to an 0-2 start. That's absolutely the worst thing possible, isn't it now?
I know.
Okay, and our third match next week will be Chaos in the Sky and the Boston Breloons versus Carter McCann and the Chicago Cub Chews. And quite frankly, I think that Carter kind of went under the radar this week, not to make it a silly point, but he's directly under the radar's name. So, I think he went kind of unnoticed. It's going to be a very interesting match to see how he plays, because I know that he's a fantastic player, and he came up against a really, really good side last week, and it's going to be really interesting to see how he responds to that loss and whether he can actually pull it in. But the Boston Breloons themselves had a loss, so once again, it's going to be one of these teams is going to be on a 0-2 record next week, and that's nothing. None of them want that. Nobody wants to be on that.
That's very true. But anyway, another person looking to avoid being 0-2 is going to be our next match, LacenMC, as he takes on Monotooi. That's the Philadelphia Flygons versus the Tampa Bay Luxrays. Lacen not really getting any bit of a break to start the season. As we saw how well Jordinez played, and we saw how well Monotooi played week 1. If he plays that well week 2, Lacen's going to have a really, really hard time overcoming, and getting his first victory. And I don't think Monotooi wants to slow down at all. He's already at number 1. Probably does not want to lose that,
Exactly. Nobody's going to want... Well, if you're in top spot, you want to keep it. So,
yeah.
I mean, if you win every game and you're in first, then you're not going to lose.
Exactly.
It's one of them, basically. If you're in top, everyone's going to be chasing you, so it's how he holds off the pack from now on. But, yeah. Our next match will then be Travistey versus the North Melbourne Kangaskhan's versus Electricstorm 252 and the Melbourne Victory Star. Now, this is going to be a very, very interesting match because the North Melbourne Kangaskhan's are themselves looking to avoid a 0-2 record for the first 2 weeks, and Melbourne Victory Star also have a chance to go top with this. So it's basically 1 win and 1 loss playing each other. So the scores could be completely even after this one, and it could be a chance for the North Melbourne Kangaskhan's to actually pull themselves up and stop the rot before it gets too late. So if they have a victory here, it really could set up the rest of their season, and they could use it as like a springboard to push themselves up. So
yeah,
we'll see how this one goes. It's very tense.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's also fun to see that the only 2 Australians in the PPL are playing each other this week. So get to see who's the best Australian.
Absolutely, mate.
And then also, kind of a fun match to see. The last match for week 2 that will be happening is Troy, the Trojan-Horsea, and the Wycombe Wanderers against Juancito Marvell and the Amityville Haunters. That is fun to say. And
yes, it is.
I know that these 2 are very good friends. So I'm very interested to see. It's always fun to play one of your really good friends. So it's going to be fun for both of them, I think. Very interested to see, what Troy's going to bring this week, because after, Swords Dance Glasgow week 1, there's really, the sky's the limit. And we'll see how Juan approaches week 2, because, he is still pretty new to this, to Draft League format, at least he's playing in 1.
He's very new to Smoke on Tiers in general. It's more of a BGC player,
that's true.
So he's going to have to adapt very quickly, otherwise he's in trouble of finishing in the bottom half. But see, the good thing about Troy and the Wycombe Wanderers is they brought that Swords Dance Glasgow week 1, so he's got to be expecting anything. He can't be just expecting Troy to bring normal sets.
Standard
because
stuff,
once you've brought something like that, you put the fear into your opponent that you're going to bring it again, and your reputation starts to dictate what the opponent does. So once you bring something and it works like that, you really have a lot of the pressure taken off yourself.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really interesting to see how Juan responds from that 5-0 loss against someone who seemingly looks like he can bring anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we'll just have to see, but that is going to wrap up the recap for this week. I don't know if myself and Alex will be doing the recaps every week. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. It's still kind of up in the air, but they will be brought to you every week. And week 2 for Division 2 actually starts tomorrow. So there should be uploads tomorrow for week 2, so you don't even have to wait that long this time.
Exactly. Keep an eye out for that. It should be really interesting. But like I said, it's been really, it's been really really good watching these matches and recording these recaps. So maybe let us know what you think we can do to improve and how we can make these any better, and we'll take any suggestions on board. Your feedback would be really appreciated.
Absolutely. So, all right, we're gonna head on out of here. So, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the PPL channel and things like that if you have not done so already. And see you guys around.
Also, if you want to check out our videos as well, make sure you look at us as well. If you want to see more,
I'll probably sneak our links in there. So,
but yeah, we have our own matches. We're in Division 1 at the moment, so we have we have to prepare for those. So we should probably get going. So
yeah. Absolutely. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.
Guys. Bye.